I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. Isn't that funny? I live in a desert, and man, it's raining today. Every night when I go to bed, I listen to an app, a rain app, just like this. But it's got Wicked Thunder in it. I can't sleep without it. I can't. It's interesting. We have like 4 or 5 sunroofs in this house. So when it rains, it's louder inside. I'm being serious too than it is outside. And when it hails, forget about it. It's crazy. Anyway, before I eat these, I've already reviewed them. I'm just kind of hanging out with you guys. I wanted to thank everybody who did a ride this morning and kind of worked through some stuff, and there was a lot of you said some very, very nice things, so I want to thank you. Now, they're not going to be making these anymore. You can still find them. It's a tragedy. These were great. Paqui Haunted Ghost chips. One of the only mainstream products that doesn't lie. This is a hot chip. Ground corn. Pressed canola oil, safflower oil, or sunflower, excuse me. Salt, ghost pepper, like 5th ingredient. I'm not even going to read the rest. Is it gluten-free? Yeah, there's garlic and some other good stuff. This is a hot chip. Now, the reason that this chip is going to be, they're going to stop making them is because somebody, a young man, died. Everybody sort of rushed to judgment, said that the Paqui One Chip Challenge killed him. It was never proven. They did an autopsy, never released it. And here's why that happened. You have to understand, Paqui was a small company, and they came out with some really crazy stuff, right? And as always happens, a bigger company said, "Oh no, we can't let them do that. Let's buy them. We'll buy them." So Hershey's bought them. If you want to have some fun, look at the list of companies that Hershey's owns. Unbelievable. Anyhow, if you look at the bottom line, the money that Hershey brings in annually, do you know how much of this money is brought in by Paqui? Now, granted, they may have bought them because they felt the threat, but you know how much money of what they make is due to this product or the One Chip Challenge? If I had a hair, this much of what they earn is from Paqui. So to them, they're like, hell no, not risking that. Did that chip kill that boy? I don't think so. These are great. These just taste so good. Is it hot? Yeah. A non-chili head wouldn't eat them, wouldn't enjoy them. You know what I did? Pulled up some interesting trivia. I have some more band trivia I'm going to take up tomorrow. But believe it or not, I found some more. This is great trivia. This is from Woodstock. Remember where the concert was? Woodstock refused to hold it. They wouldn't host it. Despite the name, the festival didn't occur in Woodstock, New York at all. Seriously. Although they initially approved the festival, residents strongly opposed the event. Subsequently, town officials refused to issue the required permit, citing the lack of resources to accommodate a crowd of 50,000 people. The event was moved to Bethel, New York instead. Yet, nobody calls it Bethel. Hey man, some bad stuff going around in Bethel. Don't eat it. The brown acid, that's what happened. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the next one is subject to debate because I've heard stories. How many people do you think went? Glad you asked. You'll see things that say 500,000. About 400,000 people watched it or went there. However, 3.7 million people have claimed to have been there. People claim to be, I was born at Woodstock. A lot of hocus pocus. Amateurs organized it. Did you know that? The concert of the century was organized by four 20-year-old kids in their 20s, inexperienced agents with a desire to make a profit. Additionally, John Roberts, Joel Rosenman, Artie Cornfield, and Michael Lang were all under the age of 27. Talk about better than expected turnout, it said. Excuse me. It ended up being free. Did you know that? It ended up being a freebie. Initially, tickets in advance, if you bought them in advance, they were going for $6 and $24. But too many people expressed interest in attending. And the organizers eventually made it a free gig because they couldn't figure out a way to efficiently collect the money. Imagine that. Got so big, couldn't make any money on it. Then something happened. It always happens. Ticketless people show up. They tore down the fence erected to keep them out, and they entered the concert grounds anyway. Caused a 17-mile traffic jam. Yep. Hundreds of people attending and most driving. A traffic jam would be expected, right? Well, the revelers were stuck in a 17-mile-long traffic jam to access grounds, and they waited patiently. How many artists do you think performed? If I asked you, you could probably name 3. Right? $32. The event was graced by some of the best artists of that time. 32 of them performed in a 3-day concert. Big names included Jimi Hendrix, The Who, Sweetwater, The Grateful Dead, Creedence Clearwater, Grace Slick. Boy, she did White Rabbit. Go watch that. It rained incessantly. Rain on a parade is a drag, right? But at Woodstock, the rain was literal. Despite the heavy rain on the second day, the outdoor event went on, and nothing could drench the spirit of the merrymakers. One singer, should say one artist, because it was a guitarist. One artist was almost electrocuted. A heavy downpour was so heavy that one of the artists was almost electrocuted by his electric guitar. He was thrown several feet into the air, but he survived. This is number 10. There are 17 of these things I'm going to read you, so we're almost done. People became very, very angry. Here's why. Feeding a crowd as huge as the one that showed up at Woodstock is daunting. You know, you got to figure. It's like feeding an army. And the vendors weren't having it easy. As demand soared, guess what happened? Prices soared. Hamburgers that were initially 25 cents for a hamburger popped up to $1, just like that. You think people like that? Heck no. They burned one of the concession stands down in frustration. Wouldn't tell you if it wasn't true. The locals fed the crowd. In a show of love, locals stepped in to feed the crowd when the news of the food shortage was announced. Thousands of sandwiches found their way to the grounds in people's hungry bellies. Here's crazy. There was one porta potty. You know the little porta potties? Call them a party pooper, whatever you want to call them. There was one of those for every 700 people. The last-minute surge in attendees presented one of the many problems. There wasn't enough toilets. Only about 600 toilets were serving a population, they claim, of 500, but there was only about 400,000 there. People relieved themselves on the spot. Everybody did. Men, women, didn't matter. The lack of sanitation and the huge crowd made it almost impossible to find a bathroom, let alone get to it. Consequently, people would just kind of go on the spot and then just keep on grooving. There were drugs there. There were drugs, and people were warned. Huge crowd that big was bound to have some people who want to add some illegal substances to the mix, especially in the 60s as that was happening. And this was no exception. The people were warned that drugs were going around, were circulating, and were advised to stay away. One person, and this is allegedly, it's not proven, but they're pretty sure, one person overdosed. That was it. Imagine that. Partying for 3 days straight is bound to be exhausting. One person decided to rest in the field and was reportedly run over by a tractor. And this is the part that I thought it's really what makes the whole event just like a unique phenomenon. It really is, and it's not going to happen again. It won't. We're past it. But listen to this. There was no reported violence at all. 400,000 people partying their skulls off in a field in New York. Bethel, not Woodstock. And there was no violence. What are the chances that hundreds of thousands of young people gathered at a concert without violence? The odds are slimmer than guitar strings, but Woodstock Festival did it. Boom. The concert was a rally of peace led by young people tired of status quo. Tell me that's not some pretty cool trivia that you didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know it at all. Anyway, so let's get back to Paqui. While it's a tragedy that a young man lost his life, he didn't lose his life to these. Or we would have known. If you were the CEO of Hershey's, you would have done it too. They make more money in just a regular Hershey's chocolate bar in one day than they made all year long on Paqui, I bet. So it's cancel culture is what it is. It's not good enough that the cats must live, but the dogs must die. There are people still washing their clothes today with Tide Pods. Just saying. Gonna wrap it up now. Man, I didn't know it was gonna be raining today, yesterday. But one more time, I want to thank everybody who left a really cool comment. Thank you. And for everybody who's, there were so many people who said, hey, you know what? I lost my dad or I lost my mom. My heart's broken for you guys. It is. I feel too much sometimes, but I'm hurting for all of you today. I've had a bunch of wonderful emails from wonderful people. And I just want to thank all of you. You're all wonderful. The Scoville family thanks you. And you guys are great. So in the description box, you're going to see a link for all of the normal stuff. If you're going to be around, if you're going to be around this weekend in Albuquerque, make it to the Albuquerque Fire Food Fest, where you will see Me, Tommy, David Foy, and my brother's son, Spanx. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Tubes of Terror there. We're going to have Tubes of Terror 2.0. We're going to have other goodies. Oh, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. So I hope you're going to come out and say hi. Be kind to somebody. Tell someone you love them. Life's too short. My son, my bro, challenges, and this is stuff for all brand new people. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Johnny Scoville. This was Chase the Heat.